What's up, guys? This is Skyllus.
It's Arctic here.
And we're having this episode for a big reason that's been popping up in the competitive community as well as on Epic forums. Epic's decision which we've known about for a while, but they confirmed it, Joe Graph. Stalemates are gone from execution in Warzone. What they're going to do is they're going to pick a winner, and I'd assume that that'd be whichever team has more players alive, like they did for Team Deathmatch during the beta. So if you have 4 people alive, the other team has 3, time runs out, the team with 4 will get the win.
Right. Big issue here is obviously going to be with execution in Warzone, and that's what a lot of people kind of thought about it, I think, and it kind of sunk in. So if you're down a man on execution or Warzone, and you basically play the rule, you can just sit back in your spawn and wait for the other team to move and push up on you when they're at a disadvantage. So that's kind of what people are in arms about and kind of thinking about it from that regards. But I think a lot of people are forgetting one big time factor that was not in Gears of War 2. Actually, now that we kind of look at it, it will be in Gears of War 3 because by default, the weapons will not respawn. So in private matches, this will not be a big time factor because you can actually toggle the weapons to respawn. So even if you were camping in the back of your spawn, there's a chance that if the other team has, say, a boom shot and they don't move out of their spawn, the players with only 3 guys on their team could run out and grab another power weapon and actually kind of turn the tide.
Which, just to be clear, that was from a post on the forums, which Jim Brown, the lead level designer, I believe, he said that we're going to have an option for private matches only, where you can make it so the weapons respawn from a point where they're grabbed. So you grab boom shot, 1 minute later, boom shot will respawn regardless if you spent the ammo. But that's private matches only. Public matches will continue to use the GAU2 system, where it doesn't respawn until they run out of ammo. So, in conclusion, I think that really the public match people are going to be the ones that are most affected by the move, but the competitive crowd is getting kind of worried about it as well, and potentially for good reasons, potentially for bad reasons. I think a lot of people aren't looking at the weapon respawn aspect because it changes gameplay in a huge way.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that people forgot from Gears of War 1 is that weapons were on a respawn timer. So even if you were sitting back and you were down a man, people would say, for example, the campiest map to me I thought was always Fuel Depot. There's a few others that you could consider were campy, but as soon as that boom shot respawned in the middle area, teams would go grab that. And if you were camping, waiting for the other team to grab, and you didn't have your eye on the boom shot, you were at a disadvantage for the team that actually grabbed the boom shot or repeatedly grabbed the boom shot and kept you from grabbing it. So I think power weapons are going to kind of, I don't want to say nullify, but it's not being accounted for in the competitive community. And it's such a major change from Gears of War 2 to Gears of War 3 for private matches. It's really going to change the pace.
So, kind of taking that from the weapon respawning into how that applies to the man-up rule, the important thing to stress is that competitively, in private matches, we'll be using that setting, and what's going to happen is, say you get the kill and you're up 4v3, if you fall back into your spawn, you're still going to have to cover the power weapons, or else they're saying get the power weapons, then even it with a like a boom shot's really easy to even the score in a 4v3 if you get the boom. Yeah. So it makes it so that the team with less players is going to have to contest the weapons, and they're going to have to contest it with less people, but I don't think that the team of 4 can really go back and camp if the weapons are respawning like that.
Right, and then the other thing with the competitive community, a lot of them are, I don't want to say a lot, but a few people are worried about what we call clutch moments. In an instance where, let's say, you were up maybe 4v2 or 4v1, and you knew in order to win the game, you had to kill that last person, or else it ended in a draw. What the competitive community sees as a negative effect is the other team that has 4 can just sit back, and that one person has to clutch, kill all 4 of those people, and you potentially lose out on great moments. I don't really think clutch moments necessarily are going to be really affected, because either way, if you're at a disadvantage, you know that you're going to have to come up big and get all the kills, or you're going to lose. I mean, I really don't see it as being
the big
a
thing
down
is,
factor.
how many 1v4s have you actually seen in a competitive
right,
match?
it's like
I can count on my hand for all 3 years that Gears was on the circuit. As far as how many people want a 1v4.
Very, very scarcely, to the point where it would be absurd for the competitive community to say that clutch factors or 1v4s or 1v3s are going to greatly be affected.
That said, I think that if you're in a 1v3 and you get into a situation where you're kind of trapped, they can just kind of sit there and focus you out. But at the same time, if you're in that scenario and there isn't the mana pool, they're probably going to kill you anyways, just by process of elimination, you know? I mean, like, you get angles, so it's like, it affects it in a way, but I don't think it's the end-all at all for clutch plays. I feel like that your best chance before was being aggressive, and now you just kind of have to be aggressive.
Right.
And competitively, we'll have respawning on the map, so we'll be good. Now, public matches get kind of screwed over on all this, because, quite frankly, if I'm playing in a ranked room, and we're up 4v3, and we have the boom shot, the correct play is for us to sit all the way back and make you run at us. Like, because the boom shot's not going to respawn.
Right. Correct. That's.
So, I think that you can have one setup or the other, but having both the man-up rule and the weapons not respawning is going to make ranked play kind of suck.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I think you're 100% right on that. Ranked play is going to absolutely be dreadful, I think, for the vast, larger community out there. I don't know. Obviously, it's hard to speculate, but
the big thing is if a team plays to win or if they're just playing to have fun. Because, I mean, like, if you're playing there with a group of 4 people, then you can sit back and camp. But if you're playing, like, with random, like, groups of 1, then you're not going to be able to sit there and camp because your teammate's going to run out there and die, and it's going to be 3v3 again. Right. So it's going to affect a small segment of the ranked people, but again, the optimal strategy is always going to be to sit back and camp. Agree?
Yeah.
Alright, we're going to have a second part of this, because there's so much to discuss in this topic as far as how it affects play. Maybe more examples in part 2. We good?
Yeah.
Alright, peace out.